Welcome back to the Padilla Family Homestead. Today is a big batch cooking day. One of the areas where we struggle with for meals is breakfasts. It can be, we don't have a lot of time in the morning. Everybody kind of likes different breakfast things, different spice levels, all that stuff. So one of the things that we have found that really works for us is to do a big day of batch cooking and make a bunch of different things. So in the past we've done breakfast burritos. This time around we're not doing that one. We are going to be doing something we call egg muffs, which is like egg bites, but it's bigger. And then we're also going to do some burrito bowls. So the first thing I am doing is getting all of my stuff set out for organizing everything. I'm going to chop up a bunch of veggies, well, a bunch of onions and some cabbage. And then the other thing I'm going to chop up or cook up and prep is the sausages. So we have a few different flavor profiles of sausage. And so as I finish each one, it'll go into a container. Now for me, I'm on a low sodium diet right now. My husband has to watch his sugar, so we have two different things we watch. So we have a couple of different sausages we'll be doing, and then I will have an idea of measuring out so I know how to keep my sodium low, because sausage can be very high in that. And then my daughter has some other flavor profile stuff that she likes. So she'll be joining me a little bit later today as we get going. And then my husband is going to be probably helping in the background, like grating cheese and things like that. So we're going to get going. The first thing I'm going to do is chop up my veggies, because that can be a process and I want to get that done. So one of the things that I have found in doing these big batch meals is prepping is key. Making sure you have all the ingredients that you need, and then knowing at what point you're going to need them, and having everything just ready to go, so at each step you have what you need. And so that's one of the things with the onions. We can chop it up and use them in multiple different places if we wanted to. Due to my daughter, she hates onions, we didn't do that. But we are using onions to caramelize today. And then we are going to do some garlic and some potatoes and some cabbage here in a second. It's also great to plan these big batch cooking days around times when you can get things on sale. So we had been wanting to do a big batch breakfast cooking day for a while, and just one thing or another kept not having it happen. We ended up using up the rest of our onions that we had from the farm that we got in October. And so we needed onions. We still had garlic that we had gotten, but we needed a few things. And so we wanted to wait till some of the things were on sale. So we were able to get the onions at 59 cents a pound when we went to visit my aunt this last weekend. And so that was a big helper for cutting down costs, because onions are much more than that in the store here. And so I'm trying to find things at the right cost, get them cheap. That makes this way more cost effective to have things prepped up. But again, just before you start, just really know what you're making, kind of how many you're planning on making, and knowing how you want to have that set up is important. Next up, I have all of this beautiful cabbage that I picked with you guys a couple days ago, or yesterday actually, and you saw it a couple days ago though. So what I'm going to do here, this was all cabbage that was bolting. My husband does not want greens in his. He doesn't like the texture of it. I, though, want to saute some of this up and add it in to my dishes. So I'm going to take all of these. I'm going to wash them. I had put them in water to help keep them a little bit fresh. And so I'm going to take these, I'm going to wash them up, and then I am going to chop them into little strips and get these ready to be sauteed. What I love about this right here is these plants were bolting. They were going to seed and they were going to be done. Now I could have just pulled them out and said, hey, I didn't get a head of cabbage. But instead they're still useful, and I didn't have to go buy cabbage from the store or another green to put it into these meals. I'm going to make some coffee. I actually haven't had coffee in, I think, 3 weeks due to my blood pressure. So today I decided to make some decaf. And I make my coffee with, I have a decaf Jamaican Me Crazy coffee. Because going with no coffee is Jamaican Me Crazy. Actually, it hasn't been as hard as I thought it was going to be. So some honey, and then I have some unsweetened coconut milk. And that's what I make my coffee with. So I'm excited to have some decaf. I never really thought I'd say that. That's good. Let me put this away. I also got myself some breakfast. So when it comes to using this loose leaf cabbage like this or any green, I really take a bunch of the leaves, I layer them up, and I just roll them up. This allows me to create nice thin julienne strips, but then they are easier to deal with. I actually kind of prefer cutting them this way than a whole head of cabbage, but I like how much a whole head of cabbage gives. So we have been using this cabbage kind of as a cut and come again, because where I had it, I don't think it had enough sun. And so we have been doing a lot of leaves like this. We use these same leaves for cabbage rolls and so forth, if they were a little bit bigger. So now it's time to move on to the potatoes, and we are using these little Yukon Gold style potatoes. These are red ones, or even those little purple ones are my favorite in this kind of dish. We really enjoy those. We just cut them up into decent sized chunks. I don't want them to burn. We're not going to be using salt on them at all, but we're going to get through this batch of potatoes, and we're going to do it pretty quick. Boom, magic. Okay, so we are done with chopping the potatoes. I have 2 pans here. Now, normally what I would do in the past is put some avocado oil and then some salt and pepper and a few herbs. But because I'm doing low sodium and potatoes don't have sodium, I am going to do things a little bit differently this time. So I'm going to bring the camera down, show you how I'm going to prep these, and then I'm going to put these in the oven at 400 until they are fork tender. I am going to cover them with foil as well once I'm done, because I don't want them to get really burnt and crispy, because I want these to be able to heat up in the microwave easily with everything else. So I'll bring you down, show you what I'm doing next. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to add is some pepper. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of that garlic that we prepped, so we can have some actual garlic chunks in there. The rest of these, though, are for other dishes. Okay, I'm also going to toss in some garlic powder. Garlic powder got a little bit dried out. Okay. Next one is going to be some onion powder. My daughter is not fond of actual onions, but she likes onion powder. So I don't know, it's a texture thing, but it works for me. Okay, then I'm gonna add some basil in this one. And I'm gonna add some rosemary in this one. So some really herbed up and delicious potatoes. Take some avocado oil. Oop, that's probably too much. I'd rather have too much than too little right now, though. Next, we're just going to stir this up and make sure everything's really coated with everything. Yeah, forget it. I'm going to use my hand. This one will have a little bit of rosemary and basil. I'm not worried if these edges bent. I just want it mostly covered. So I'll pop these in the oven and we'll be right back. Okay, so we are in the kitchen. We are going to cook up some sausage. We're going to start browning some of the onions. The oven's now to 400. So we're going to get going in here and I'm going to show you what I am cooking and how. So I'm going to save you the sound on this next clip right here. What I'm doing is I'm turning on the heat. I've added some oil and I'm kind of spreading the oil out with a metal spatula. You can just imagine what that sounds like on the cast iron pans. Alright, so the first thing I need to do is get this sausage cooked up. This particular one has a lower sodium than these other ones from what I can tell. These don't have nutritional information, but I Googled what I could. So this has 390 milligrams per 56 grams cooked, which is great because I can know how much I'm putting in. All right, so I'm going to cook all 3 of these. Sage sausage is like our favorite sausage. So I'm going to cook all of these. And then my husband also got some mild Italian pork sausage and some chorizo bulk pork sausage. So we'll get these going. I'm also going to get the onions started right now. This pan is sizzling, so it is hot and ready to go. Put these guys in there. And I'm just cooking this down in some oil. No salt. And I'm choosing what I put in first based off of the flavor profiles I would like in the next thing. So my daughter likes the flavor of onions, but she doesn't like the texture. Alright, so my video cut out there for a minute, but what I was saying was she likes the flavor, but not the texture. So I'm going to get the onions going now and then do the greens afterwards. And it will pick up that flavor. I also have some Jimmy Dean sage sausage going in the back right now. And again, I'm doing this one first to cut down on the amount of sodium. I know how much sodium is in this batch of sausage versus if I did the other ones first. Plus, these aren't spicy. The chorizo is spicy. I'll wash my hands. Get this sausage. Chopped up. Turn down that pan a little bit. I know that one's overcooked right there just because I put it in first, but I'm actually just going to let that rest there. I wouldn't let this rest here if it was touching the bottom, but it's nowhere touching the bottom. Now these onions, salt helps things reduce, let out moisture. And so by me not putting salt in here, it's going to take this longer for it to cook down and caramelize, but that's okay. So just know that salt does speed those things up a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. And it's not going to take like forever. Because this is going to be a process, I'm going to go ahead and put these mild sausage and the chorizo sausage back in the fridge until we are ready for them. And then, I know I mentioned it earlier when I was prepping, but the key to batch cooking is to get all the food like pre-prepped. So that is what I'm working on. Before I assemble this stuff, it all has to pretty much be cooled. So it's one layer at a time. So as I finish it, I'll let it cool slightly, and then I'll probably pop it in the fridge. until I'm actually come together and assemble. And we probably won't assemble and start baking till tonight. But to freeze it, we need to have things down to room temperature because I need some cheese in there. And I don't want to add the cheese to where things are, it's melting on hot food. I want it to wait and melt when we take it out and actually cook it. So that's kind of where we are. I'm going to keep cooking these down. I'll put this stuff away, and then I'm going to be just prepping one sausage after another, one veggie after another, and we will get to see all of this come together.
Look around where you are. See my love shine like the stars. Take a breath where you stand. I'm forever here to hold your hand. Oh, 10,000,000 suns across the sky won't outshine my love for you. Fire in the dark with a blinding light won't outshine my love for you.
I feel like this looks lighter on the camera than it does in person. But I'm going to pull these out. Hope you can see the color a little bit better there. So next step for this pan that's still on. So the next step is, actually, I'm going to do this garlic. And then I'm going to do this cabbage. And then I'm going to add in just a little bit more oil. This should wilt down by a lot pretty quickly. Hey honey, can you spot check my sausage and make sure it's done? Or it will be done in like a minute or two in the microwave. Okay, so this is about as cooked down as I want it. You can tell here, it's pretty cooked down. I don't want it total mush because I'm going to be adding this to other things and still cooking it further. So I'm just putting this back in this container. All of that cabbage turned into that. So the next thing I'm doing in this pan just to save on time, is my spicy chorizo sausage. Okay, so the chorizo is going in. The other half that my husband didn't use the other day. So these sausages are different texture than the other sausage. And so I really like this for ground meat and sausage and ground pork, all that stuff. I do not like it as much for these. I don't know what the deal is with the texture or the content, but the metal spatula is like the best on these guys. So that is what I use. That's why I switched over. But if you don't have one of these, this makes a huge difference. It mashes, it smashes, it cuts. It's my favorite tool in the kitchen. Alright, so I am going to go. I have to go pick up my daughter, and I'm going to leave this cooking. Don't worry, my husband is home. He is tasked with stirring and chopping and all the things for these. And he'll leave them on the stove but off if they're done before I get home, and then we'll check back in and come up with our game plan for assembly. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I'm back. I got my girl. I'm feeling really short right now. Oh my goodness.
I'm not even standing up straight. This is me standing up straight.
I'm like, yeah. So she's gonna help me. But it's lunchtime, so we're gonna eat. I'm gonna show you the sausage really fast because I'm gonna get it out of the pans and get it cooling down. But let me take you down. So this is what we got. This is that. It's so warm. That's the Italian sausage. We didn't do a ton of that. And then the chorizo. They're gonna have some quesadillas for lunch. So they're having quesadillas for lunch, and I'm gonna have some leftover pasta, and then we'll be back going with the next step, which is preparing it all to go together. I know I have it too short for you now. There we go.
Yeah.
So preparing. Oh, it's kind of dirty under there. Preparing it all to go together, and then we will get it baking and then go over storing it. And then I'll go ahead and let you know what I calculate for my sodium for my my meals. But if that's something, I don't know if that's something that's of interest to my viewers or not, so I don't know if I should go over that or not. But if that is something that's of interest, put it in the comments, and I'll make sure when I do other kitchen videos that I show that. But I do try to explain kind of why we do certain things throughout, but I don't know if that's of interest. So leave me a comment if that's of interest to you, and then we'll go over that. So we're gonna have lunch, and we'll be back and start prepping. We have 10 dozen eggs to wash. 10 dozen eggs to wash.
I was not prepared walking into this.
She didn't know what she was getting into. She knew it was a bad
I just
cooking
said,
day.
She just said, hey, do you want to help me cook? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah. So we're gonna do a lot of eggs.
and
and then we're gonna get stuff, a ton of batches in the oven. So we will be back. Alright, so we have the table set up kind of assembly line. My daughter and I are going to make some egg muffs in these containers. And then we also need to make some egg casserole style dishes for our burrito bowls. And then my husband is going to work on his fillings, and he's using these pans for his egg muffs. So we are going to start assembling. I'm going to show you, I'm going to bring the phone down and or the camera, angle it down, and show you kind of how this works for me and our process. I'm going to cook everything at 350 until done. Everything is going to be different sizes, so it will take different amounts of time. All your ovens are going to be different, so just keep that in mind. But that is what I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is in the pan for mine, I am going to use some unsalted butter, which is what we use for everything. And I'm just going to butter up these holes. Try to help things from sticking. My husband's going to come over, I think, and start working on his.
Yes. Working on mine. I need lay butter.
I'm going to have this one just a second. My hand's apparently warm. It's melting it. I know you're using the bunt cake. You're going to have blunt bites.
I'm going to have bunt that has a hole in the middle.
It's one of my favorite parts of my Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Then I could put a flower.
Put a base in it.
The flour in it, yeah. Let's spread that out on the bottom. I know I made a mess. You're probably just going to have to use your fingers on that bunt cake one. You're not going to be able to. They didn't stick really bad in there.
Don't we have Pam spray?
We do not. I don't use Pam. It ruins my pans.
Pam.
No, but if you want to, you can put a drop of oil in the bottom of yours. So for my egg muffs, I decided to do onion and the cabbage mixture, and I went ahead and I weighed out the sausage and the cheese for fillings. But when you are making this, you can do this however you want to. I have done it with shredded zucchini. I have done it with shredded carrots inside. You can fill it with whatever you want to. This just happened to be what we filled it with this time. You can even add cooked bacon to it. It's whatever you decide that you want to use as a filling. For those of you wanting to follow along with the low sodium meals, what I did was I measured out 1 serving of the sausage. So I did 56 grams of cooked sausage, because that's what the Jimmy Dean said is a serving, right? And that had 390 milligrams of sodium. So I took that and I tried to evenly distribute that amount per 12 muffin spots. Then from there, I know now that there are 32.5 milligrams of sodium from the sausage per egg muff. I did the same thing with the cheese, which was 180 milligrams of sodium per ounce. So I did 1 ounce spread out, so it's 15 per muffin tin. I got a phone call in here and my videoing got all messed up for you guys, but I'm going to show you the gist here. Basically, I did 1 egg per muffin hole, which is, I think, 71 milligrams of sodium. So I took that egg, I cracked it individually in the measuring cup and added a little bit of coconut milk, unsweetened. That's like 25 milligrams for a cup, and I'm using like maybe a teaspoon in it. And I just mix that really good in the measuring cup. And then I add it into the muffin tin over the top of the fillings that I have going on. Once you do that, you will take the fork and just go ahead and lightly mix what is in the container. And actually, before you mix it, you want to add whatever seasonings you want to. So if you want to add some onion powder or some basil or some garlic powder or some more pepper or rosemary, whatever your favorite flavorings are, you can sprinkle that over the top. And then you use your fork and you mix it all in, and then you can put it in the oven. So I do want to point out here that I know I'm using onion, which has a minute amount of sodium, and I'm using the cabbage, which also has a minute amount of sodium per the amount I'm putting in each of these egg bites. So I did add a few extra sodiums to each of the egg bites here. So make sure that you are checking everything and seeing what it has if you have a sodium issue. I'm just talking about that because that's something I'm working on and going through right now. So each of these egg muffs is, I calculated about 120 milligrams of sodium. So it's 240 if I decide to have two for breakfast. All right, this is my husband's. He has a lot more stuff in his. So he has big chunks of chorizo sausage. Is that what you put in this one, honey?
Yeah.
Did you put anything else in? You didn't put any onions? Do you want onions? Do you want cheese?
He just wants meat.
Just chorizo sausage and eggs? Okay.
Chorizo.
He's making his bites his way. His muffs. Okay. Can you get me the other pan? Nope, the other big, that one, yeah. That's what I was talking about. Hold on. I just didn't realize you had it in your hand. Alright, so we're going to put this on the pan and pop this in as well, and then Emily will be starting hers. Okay, so they're in. I'm setting the timer for 20 minutes. So they're in. I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes and check on them. Okay, so these are Emily's. Emily, what did you put in them?
So I put a little bit of the sage sausage in it. I put some of the greens, put the garlic in it, and I put some of the cheese over here in it.
Perfect.
And then I made my egg mixture, and I put some garlic powder and some onion powder in it too, so then it's not like just running out.
And she doesn't have to count her sodium in a day, so she didn't do 1 egg per pouch. She just did a bunch, added her oat milk and seasonings, and she's going to pour in. Ooh, steamy. Alright, so these just beeped. I put them in for 5 more minutes. They're still, so I'm watching this center part right here, and they're still kind of really moist with the whites. So I want to make sure those are cooked all the way through, and those definitely have some more time. Okay, so I have been washing the eggs, putting them in the water, doing the float thing. Now we're going to candle them. I'm going to show you candling just in case you've never seen it. Go ahead. It's dark. Okay. So all I do is I keep a flashlight and I put it over, and you can't really tell right now, but there's nothing in here. Like, I can see straight through. And that's all you do. You're looking for any formed egg. I mean, formed chicken. Can you turn it back off? I'm going to finish these up, and then I will be back to show you our next process. Alright, so we are ready to start working on these casserole style dishes. This is the one that my daughter grated the cheese in, so she's going to do hers in here. And I am going to start getting mine prepped in this one. And I'm going to place a good hunk of onions in here. Oh, I should have put butter down there. Okay, so I'm going to pour a little bit of avocado oil. These were cooked in oil, so they shouldn't be too bad, but I'm going to coat the pan down here. There we go. Okay. So I'll put that in. So I'm going to use about half of what's left here on this cabbage. Sprinkle that down. And these are for burrito bowls. I mean breakfast bowls. Onions and the cabbage, the sauteed cabbage. I'm going to go ahead, I realized you're too far up right here. I'll go ahead and start doing some eggs. I did have some older Costco eggs that I went ahead and I took out for right now to use up because I need to. Em, can you bring me the trash? Thank you. You're not Em, but thank you.
They come out.
Yeah, they're over on the freezer. You want to see them? Two of them broke in half, but they're okay. Here, can you take this over there? Because I'm putting cheese inside. Okay. So we had a lot going on in the background right here, so I decided to do a voiceover. I am doing 10 eggs, so I can do 5 bowls, the little breakfast bowls. And then I will blend that up really good. I'm going to add some coconut milk to it to give it some fluff. And then I'm going to go through and get a bunch of different herbs. Now these were leftover Costco eggs. You can see the difference in the color in the egg. It's just they're not eating bugs and not pasture raised. So I did onion powder and garlic powder. I added some turmeric into there and then some black pepper as well and really blended that up. And I believe basil. Basil was the other thing I added. So I mixed that up really good and poured that over the other ingredients. Now, the egg bites at 350 took between 30, 35, 40 minutes. These casseroles, though, took closer to an hour. So now my daughter's going to make hers, and then we will come back as we're getting ready to pull these out and let them cool. Okay, so I am wrapping stuff up. I've been trying to package stuff up and put it in the fridge. Right now I am putting away my husband's egg muffs. So what I did was I just wrote Junior Italian on these and then Junior Chorizo on these. And then what we're doing is he gets 2 of these bigger ones. And we'll wrap these up and put them in a gallon Ziploc bag. And that way he can just open that gallon one and take out one of these. And we'll usually take this out the night before. That way he has it, and already partially defrosted, and then he can just heat it up either at work or right before he leaves for work, whichever way he wants to do it. And this is filling enough for him to be a full breakfast. So I'm going to go ahead. I have 3 more baggies written on for him for that one. So I'll just put these in here. And I'm going to go ahead and get these in the fridge really fast. And I'll go get some of the egg bites that we made for Emily and I and show you those. Alright, so these are my egg bites, and they are 2 per bag as well. And they're just the little cupcake ones. So mine, I pre-measured the sausage out and the cheese, so I knew exactly how much was in here. The egg's gonna be a hit or a miss. I'm letting these cool down for a few minutes so that way we can get those going. But I'm gonna start my daughter's bowls now, and I can finish off the potatoes in mine. So I'm planning on 5 bowls for my daughter and I, and each. And these will be on days that I know I'm going to be home and doing super low sodium the rest of the day, because what I have calculated here is about 712 milligrams of sodium, and I'm trying to stay under that 1,000. So that's going to be, I really have to watch that on the days that I do that. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some of these potatoes and add some of these to my bags. Actually, I'm going to start with the meat in hers. So I'm going to get a good scoop in each one to start with, and then see where I am from there, because this is what's left and what needs to be used up. Oh, it needs a little bit more. I really like having these bowls, is what I call them. I do them in the Ziploc because it's easy to dump out into a bowl, and you just microwave it really quick. But it's just handy to have on hand. Ooh, hello, Emily. She's in the background over there. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to add into her bowl to get it done. Do you want these pieces from earlier? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to add in a good handful. She loves cheese.
I'm a cheese addict.
She is a cheese addict. So I'm just doing a scoop at first. And I always want to make sure that everything else isn't hot when I do this, because I want this cheese to melt when it's cooking, not when we're heating it up, not right now. Oop. You actually may get that cheese in your last one. Do you want me to just put those couple of slices in here? Since there's not very, I'll put these ones in there. Oop. That'll finish off our cheese for her. Okay, so now we kind of have the same stuff going on. And then we're going to go ahead and start scooping. Do you prefer the rosemary or the basil potatoes, Em? Or do you want some of each? Basil? Okay. So I'm going to go with the scoop to start with. Of basil potatoes in each one. I did kind of burn the bottom of these potatoes, because when I went to go pick up my daughter, I kind of forgot to tell my husband they were in the oven. Gotta love that. Gotta love it. I'm getting tired, guys. It's been a long day in the kitchen. A lot of in and out for the oven. A lot of prep ahead of time. I'm hoping this video is not like crazy long. Okay. So I'm just going to give her the rest of the basil. Some of these are crispier, but I think she likes that. Okay, so potatoes are in each of her bags. Now I'm going to work on mine. Get this stuff out of the way. So potatoes, I don't have to worry about weighing. Everything in here was sodium free. So I am set to just get these loaded up. It's crazy that that right there is 780 milligrams, or 700, whatever it was I said. Oh, the eggs counted in that sodium level too. So that pan's empty. So the last thing we have to do is I have to start slicing these up. They're kind of warmer still, but I want to get them out of this pan. So the herbs really float to the top, and you can tell like on the side there's not that many herbs. So I need this in 5 sections. So I'm going to kind of make a 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty, I think that'll be pretty even. So I want to gauge how warm it is inside. Ooh, that's pretty warm. It's steaming. I cannot put that in yet. What I want to do is let these cool down more, and getting them out of this pan is going to do that. And I'll have them pre-sectioned out so I can kind of gauge if they're pretty even for me. And then my daughter's doesn't have to be as precise. Okay, so get those cooling down. Those ones are mine. And then I'll get hers cooling down. We're cutting up my daughter's now, so we can get hers out and let it cool. And we're doing the same thing. I'm about 5. Alright, so I'm going to get these out so they can cool down. Hers was done differently. She did less eggs. I think she less count. And she used a different milk. I think coconut milk helps it rise better than oat milk in all honesty. But she likes the texture of the oat milk a lot. So this works for her. Steamy, steamy. Okay, so we have all of this prepped. I'm going to get these counters cleaned off. I don't know if I'm going to hit the dishes right this second, but soon. I haven't been feeling good like I've talked about in other ones, and so this is something that was a good big long day of work. So I'm going to get this stuff put in the fridge for now to let it cool down until these eggs cool down. So I'm gonna get this stuff put in the fridge, and then I am gonna get the last stuff out of the oven, let it get cooling down, and then when I'm ready to have everything laid out and show you the finished product for the night, I will bring you back, show you the egg bowls, how they turned out together, and how many meals we got out of this. So I look forward to seeing you back here in just a few minutes. A few minutes for you, a little bit longer for me.
Look around where you are. See my love shine like the stars. Take a breath where you stand. I'm forever here to hold your hand. Oh, 10 million suns.
So we have it completed here. We have 12 different sets of egg bites or egg muffs. So 24 egg muffs for Junior. That's 12 breakfasts for him. So that's really good. Then for Emily, we have 6 sets of egg bites, muffins, whatever, they're smaller. And 5 egg bowls with sausage, potato, cheese, and egg. And then for me, we have 6 sets of egg bites with sodium levels counted, and 5 bags of egg bowls with sodium counted. So I'm super excited. I think that was a very productive day. So it's 34 individual meals wrapped and ready to go. They're going in the freezer. Thank you for joining along. I hope this gives you some inspiration for things that you can do. Easy ways to bulk make things and to individualize them and make your life just a little bit easier.